you here?
I'm going to have to confess something. By this point, I am very much a little old woman. I'm always in my pajamas by this point in the evening. So apologies that I am in my pajamas.
I didn't know you were until you said you were, to be fair. So.
No, I mean, do you see me dressed like this normally? No, you're not.
Well, you might do behind the scenes. When no one's looking, you just chuck a hoodie on. You'd be like,
No. By the way, I've just seen Carly pop up, and Carly. And Ian's going to really thank me for this, but Carly and I have a secret love of really terrible television. I'm trying not to swear because Carly and I are actually very sweary people in our little chat, and I am going to have to, Steph's in modern gear. Look, this used to fit me when I was at my biggest and it was quite tight, and it's a 6XL, and now it's like a giant dressing gown. So I'm very much like, if I'm going to buy something new, I just carry on wearing it till it falls apart. Anyway, I've got to confess something. I am going to be in Ian's bad book soon because I have given Carly a load of rubbish television recommendations. Sorry, Ian.
Sorry, I've just had someone walk in.
Sorry, you got past me.
You're not supposed to be here till tomorrow.
Oh, hi.
Sorry to interrupt. I won't be here long. I just thought these chaps are doing such a good job. They could probably do with a little visit from the donut fairy.
Oh, that is cute.
There you go.
That's very nice of you.
And I will see you properly tomorrow morning.
You came down to check your car wasn't actually on fire, didn't you?
Partly.
It's not anymore.
No, I was coming down to stop overnight, and I thought I'd just pop in on my way through. Say, good job, keep
thank you.
Keep it up. It's all good.
Stop giving me innuendos.
Big brother.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
I can't believe the donut fairy's been to see you. Where's mine?
There, you can have it.
Just chuck it through the screen. Oh my god. So we have so much to discuss. First of all, can I be that really annoying person that does a recap? When did you last recap what we're raising money for? When did you last talk about it?
About an hour ago, just over an hour ago.
Cool. Recap again. Tell us what we're raising money for and tell us how people can donate.
So we're raising money for Sophies Legacy charity, which is the little girl there passed away a couple of years ago. And before she died, she had cancer, and in fact, she had cancer and it was undiagnosed and everything like that is one side of it. But the other side of it was that when she was in hospital, the care that she was getting was, hang on, sorry, someone's trying to call me here. Who the hell's that?
Oh my god, you're now on.
Sorry, my alarm company is trying to ring me.
Oh,
God's sake. I've had technical problems tonight. Right. So I know the alarm's not going off. I'm here. They basically, before Sophie died, there was a number of things that she wasn't happy about. That she noticed things like the parents don't get fed, like the kids do, patients, but the parents who are with them don't, and there's nowhere for them to get food or anything like that.
Oh.
And it's just snowballed on from there. And now the thing, Charlotte came in just now behind it, or her mum, and explained everything they did.
Yeah.
And they're doing for people now. And it's crazy. They're doing things that really the government should already be doing.
Absolutely.
But they're not. Probably because it doesn't benefit them. So these guys are doing it, and the work they're doing is insane. So it's a local charity. It's a charity up the road from my house. There's a girl that lived 2 streets away, so it's real. It's not like one of these, there's a charity and there's some CEO at the end of it taking a big paycheck and paying for holidays to Maldives and things like that. This is genuine. So that's why we're going for it. And so far we have raised, I'm doing it on cars. Oh, for God's sake.
Do you need to, it's a suspense.
Right, it's my alarm again, hang on. I know there's a technical fault. Honestly. Right. So the alarm, the car we're at is a TVR Cerebra. Because the CC of cars is getting harder and harder. I'm supposed to be giving a story about each car that each level we get to. So we had a Fiat Panda, which I haven't done the story on. And then we had a Frog Eye Sprite, which I haven't done the story on. And then a 106 Rally, which I haven't done the story on. And then the Imp, which I haven't done the story on. And then a 205 diesel. Oh, they're on the wall up there. And a 205 diesel, which I haven't done the story on. And then an MR2 and a Xantia, which I have done the story on.
Well,
And then there was an Alfa Romeo, which you've missed completely, which I haven't done the story on. And then there was a BMW, which I did. So it's going well.
you're up incredible. £4,640. How does that feel? Because that is an enormous amount of money to raise.
It's a strange one because last year I set the target because we tried to get you one last year, of course.
Yeah.
And we had Applegate.
I love that. That is wonderful.
So yeah, so we had problems with the iPhones. So far, touch wood, they're behaving. Yeah, last year I set out to raise about £1,000 because I thought, you know, I know my place. You know, I've not got a huge pull or anything like that. I've just got some, you know, real nice guys who follow the videos and things.
You've got
and it just it went mad.
Oh, James Walsh is here. So I mean, you've lowered the tone really by letting him in. Can you boot him out?
Well, he's actually on tonight, but I put him on in the dark hours. So
best.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just it got last year. It got to 8,365, and after a while, it just becomes a bit of a a bit of a blur. You just it's just a number. You don't really take it into account. But when Charlotte was in here just now, she explained that the food bill they go through alone for Portsmouth and Southampton hospitals, just to they put in like food boxes so that parents that are in there can take food and drink and stuff if they need it. And they put toothbrushes in there. If your child gets admitted, you've got no time to pack. You just have to go. And so they put stuff like supplies that you could have in there. And to keep those topped up is £1,500 a week.
It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just that. That's just that little bit of what they do. I mean, they must be going through, I don't know how much they're going through. So, you know, at the moment, we've paid for 3 weeks, taking that off them, which, you know, on the face of it doesn't sound mad. But when you look at it and what it actually costs, it's just mind-blowing. I should update the target, really, shouldn't I?
You absolutely should. And this is a really good time for me to say that 2 things. Number one is I'm watching this chat roll as we talk, and it's really difficult for me to type along. So that'd be the first thing. So for anybody I'm not saying hello back to, please don't think I'm being rude. It's like I'm focusing on our chat. And then second of all is that for anybody who wants to donate, I've seen that Carly, as in Miss Hubnut, has posted the link a couple of times. And also your Citroen SMs, it's all in there. So anybody who wants to kind of donate or be buying or whatever, they can get in there and find that link. They are brilliant. Look at that.
And all the profits from those go to the charity. Whiteland Restorations have made all those. And so far, 18 of them have been sold.
Really? Is anybody had sound chopping? Somebody's just said they've had sound chopping. Like, no.
Hopefully not. I'll just wait and see. Just wait and see if anyone else is.
Oh, the Oracle reckons the sound is okay next door. Steph is cutting out sometimes. Sorry, Sid. Steph sound goes off if Kitch speaks at the same time. Okay, cool. Is we'll pick an item to raise. So when you need to speak, you can raise something and I'll raise the Red Bull. How does that sound?
I don't need to speak. I was just showing my pizza.
Okay. Well, I promised that I would I'd share some news tonight. So it's a bit of a weird one. So I know that you know because we talked about it when I signed up to come and chat.
I don't know.
You do know. You do.
No, this is a complete surprise.
You do know. So there's 2 things I want to discuss. So number one is is that I handed my notice in today. Well, I handed my notice in a while ago, but I did my last day at Lancaster Insurance today, because I think we talk about stuff quite a lot, and I've talked a lot about. Sorry, Richard. Sorry, everybody. I'm using the phone. Hold on. So yeah. So today, sorry if this is now a bit jumpy. Let's try that. Hold on.
It's fine from here. You've not clicked once, eh?
Oh, it's annoying. I wish I could just be fine. Anyway, so today was last day at Lancaster Insurance, which is a bit scary. So I'm taking a month between jobs. So I'm going to talk about where I'm going into afterwards. I'm kind of stepping out day job wise. I'm not going to be mainly on automotive, doing something kind of really exciting that I've wanted to do for ages. I'm just going to ignore Ian heckling me about my phone. I know my phone's naff. We don't need to talk about it. But I'm doing something really big next month. So a lot of people will know that basically, I'm not going to like moan on about it, because some people in life have real problems. But after surgery, I was just totally wiped out. I was doing a really full on job. I then walked into another really full on job, and I feel like everything that I had going on just fell apart completely. So it's almost like just trying not to be sick and trying to get to work every day was like my two goals. And also trying to look vaguely human. So every morning I get up looking like something had been dug up. I just was looking like it. And so I thought, right, okay. And as many people know, my Marina has just got pushed further and further and further down the line. And I take time for yourself. When is that time? I mean, I've been
Take time for yourself.
I know I'm not really kind of computing that. So basically, I've been working 6-7 days a week, and then obviously making sure I get a video out every week, which means that sometimes I don't sleep from Saturday into Sunday to get everything done. So I thought, right, okay, work-life balance needs to be addressed. So new job is very much all about having that quality work-life balance, really great team, walk into some really great stuff. And so I was like, right, okay, let's smash it. So some of you will know that I do videos with a chap called Kev, who's absolutely amazing. And I know that he's helped out Katie as well, Wrenching Wrench, because he does live just up the road. And I said to him, I said, look, I've got a month between job A, which is the job I'm walking away from, and job B, which I'm going to talk about later. As in later this year, not later today. And I thought, right, sod it, I'm going to get Teen in the Marina back on the road. And Kev is brilliant, by the way. And so I rang Kev and I said, look, I've just had this really crazy idea, aka I've definitely planned how we're going to do it. And I could tell that it was not what he wanted to do at all. But he has signed up for the challenge. And the challenge is we're going to take the car. And by the way, it never looked amazing in the beginning. I used to edit the pictures to look better. And so every single panel was rusty when I first bought it. And I used to just rub it back with those Halfords rubbing blocks and then spray it with Renault Alpine White. And I just sit there and do that most weeks just to take the eye off it. So I was like, right, okay, cool. But this time we're going to do it properly. And we're going to basically do it to a standard that I think anybody could do in their home garage. Because I think that, I mean, the Morris Minor, I sent that away and it got done and it looks incredible. And now I'm scared to park it at Tesco's or anywhere. But I want to do this in the same way that someone might have done their Marina in maybe the late 70s, early 80s. TC does not look worse than the Marina. If you saw the Marina in real life, you'd be like, oh God, no. So there's a hole in the front wing and stuff. You know where they go around the front light? It's just gone there. But the idea will be that we get to the end of the project. I want like a late 70s, early 80s vibe for the Marina. So it's tidy, but it's not over the top. I can take it out anywhere that I want to go. But if I go to a car show, people won't try to push me into the nearest skip at the end of the show. So that's what I'm hoping for. And I said to Kev as well that I want to do a colour change.
But they drop skips on them, don't they?
Oh
no, it's pianos.
That's pianos.
Yeah.
Thanks, hon. No, but the whole goal of it is just to create a car and show people what we can do at home in the garage. So if somebody has something at home, by the way, the chicken wire thing, I've actually taken apart a car before and seen the whole chicken wire nonsense going. I've seen some horrible stuff, expanding foam, all sorts. Thankfully, the Marina is just in its natural state, which is rust, and that's so much easier to work with, because as we work back, we know we're only working back into rust and rot, which is a lot easier to deal with, in my opinion, than trying to deal with the chicken wire, the nonsense, and all the rest of it. I'd rather deal with it in its natural state. And the idea will be is just get to the end of the month, and then Ian, are we allowed to say what we're doing in November? Is it a really badly kept secret, or what we're aiming towards? Just going to wait to check to see if we can say what we're doing. Is he giving us a thumbs up?
I can't see him. He's in there.
It's like when you're like, oh, it's top secret, but there is a goal date, end date in mind for when the Marina needs to be ready, and we've got a month. So I mean, it doesn't take too much thought, but the idea will be is that everybody will be able
Something that happens in November that a Marina might be at.
I don't know. Bang a rally, I don't know, but anyway, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working our way through. Can you find the panels for Marina? No, you cannot. So I went to Bewley Auto Jumble and I got told there was a wing, and I stormed around that auto jumble, accidentally bought a load of clothes, and then
accidentally bought a load of clothes.
Accidentally, but it's fine because it helped me win best dress, so it's cool. Anyway, I walked around looking for a Marina wing, and then the man that had one said, "Oh, it's sold, but it was the wrong side anyway." So I'm not going to get too hung up on it, and you can fix it. But sorry, I feel like I'm stressing over the same point here, but essentially what we're going to do is create a set of videos and show you what you can do in your garage to turn around a rusty wrecker into something all right to take out and enjoy. Because I think that you watch a lot of these programs on television and they make everything feel quite insurmountable, and that you can't do things, and that you can't, a normal person can't do it without loads of specialist equipment. But actually I want to show people that you can. And yes, Richard, I did win best dressed at Goodwood Revival, and it was a hat from Bewley Auto Jumble, and everyone was like, oh god. And I was modeling it for James Walsh, who has no style, but you know, even he liked it. So can the Marina Club help chops? Yes, if you speak to Chris Whedon, who is the chairman of the Marina Owners Club, really nice man. If you ever need anything, then I would always contact him. And Katie is just very silly, has just offered to help us a little bit with the Marina. So we'll see how we get on. But the end goal, the final video, will be showing people that you can get an MOT on it as well. Because I'm very passionate about an MOT on a classic. I've asked you what your opinion is. What do you think about MOTs on classics?
Yeah, it's a difficult one for me because I think like I was always staunchly like, that's a stupid idea. You shouldn't, you should get an MOT regardless. But obviously, in my line of work, I take cars for MOT. I don't MOT them, but I take cars for MOT. I take cars for an MOT that I put back together. And I remember when I took the imp over for that. Oh no, this would have been years ago. This would have been before I took it apart. That time where I took it apart, because you were going to drive it. I think you were going to do a video on it, and I took it apart, and I was like, right, I just want to get it right. I just want to get all this right, and I discovered like the wiring on it was like, it just didn't work, and there was so many troubles with it. I thought, oh no, what have I done? I shouldn't have touched it. And before that, the last MOT it had, I took it over there, and he pretty much said, right, I'll log on, check that. That's about it. And I was like, what? And he goes, well, it doesn't. None of this stuff's relevant. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that. So I don't think having an MOT is the be all and end all for a car that's 40 years old. I think it depends on the car. Because, like, as a different example, I'm partial to a BX, as you might know, and my red BX turns 40. Well, was built 40 years ago in November, registered February 84. And that very much falls under a lot of the tests in the MOT. There's a lot of stuff on that car that is still current. It uses wishbones at the same kind of geometry and everything, and bushes, and doesn't have kingpins, you know. I mean, like, prime example on the Imp, first couple of MOTs I had on it, got advisories on the kingpins having slight play. So I bought some new kingpins. I bought titanium kingpins, right?
Ooh,
Never fitted them. So I went in for the third MOT, and it didn't have the advisory anymore. And I was like, I thought they'd be worse, if anything. Like, I haven't greased them, but I knew that wouldn't do anything. I thought, what's going on there? And he went, no, that's come off them. That's not on the thing anymore. They've dropped it off. It was not relevant. I was like, so how many other things drop off on the MOT? He goes, quite a few. So I just haven't got the advisory anymore. No, there's no option for it.
right.
Oh, okay. So I was like, so this 40, and I spoke to a mate who does the MOTs, and I spoke to him, and I said, to this 40-year thing, what do you think? And he like, it really depends on the car, but the problem is they can't go that in depth with it. So my personal view has always been, I don't think there's any substitute at all for having someone look over your car every year, or perhaps every 2 years, depends how many miles you're actually doing, because a lot of these cars only do 500 miles a year.
Do you know common myth? And actually, it only takes a mile down the road to have an accident that you can kill somebody. Quite a deep conversation to have, but there's no only. I mean, you know, if you take something like a Morris Minor out that's on single circuit brakes,
Yeah.
and you drive down the road, and I've had brakes fail on a Morris Minor years ago, and because your reservoir, your fluid, your what's it called? Your
Master cylinder?
Yeah, is in it's in the footwell of the driver's side. So it's, you know, accessible. It's a really clever idea. Which obviously relates to pre-war design and all the rest of it. That's why it's down there. Very long story. Anyway, the crux of it is that if you fit the pattern wheel cylinders, quite often they do fail, and then what happens is you get complete brake failure. Now, if they aren't checking that and they aren't checking the brake lines, it only takes one little thing to go wrong, and you can get a Morris Minor if you're savvy enough. You can get a Morris Minor at well above 70, and you can wipe somebody out. You know, as you know, Ian and Carly have just done a fantastic video on 20-mile-an-hour speed limits in Wales, and you know, they talk about the Welsh government and stuff. Talk about, you know, 20 is plenty, but actually, you start killing people even at very low speeds if you hit. You know, if you hit a vulnerable person. So I'm very much of the mindset that I think everything should have an MOT. It's a privilege to be able to drive in the first place. And we live in a country where the classic rules are so lax compared to other countries.
We do get away with a lot here. We've got a lot of freedom. As I say, I think the actual MOT itself is, I think it's moved on a lot from sort of older cars and things like that. I don't think there's any substitute for having like a yearly or bi-yearly check on people's cars, because I get cars in here that are MOT exempt, and the state of some of them up on the ramp, and you think, so who's actually, the whole point is, like, it basically means the onus is, it doesn't mean the car can be less safe. They're basically saying that the onus is now on you. I mean, it's on the owner anyway, but it's completely on you. Like, you've got, if you choose not to have it MOT'd and you have a crash and you kill someone, you better have a damn good case in court, because you're going to be in trouble if it was down to a mechanical defect. So personally, I think not having your car checked over, not having your car checked over by a third party, because a lot of people say to me, like, if I send a car over for an MOT and it gets an advisory, and they go, oh, well, did you not check it first? And I was like, no, not really, because I want someone else to look at it. I might miss something. I might get that tunnel vision, but if you look at something so many times, because I looked at earlier on a car, one of my cars, I was working on it, and I walked past this hose clip like
Yeah.
10 times. I've been working on. I hadn't noticed it was undone, and it's just you can't. You do start missing the mind, the way the eyes work. You miss obvious things at times, and so it's peace of mind for me that an MOT tester then goes back over it. So I don't give any special checks before they go in. I let the MOT tester find it, and then I go over it when it comes back. And
Yeah.
I play a little game where I try to find things they missed. So, but yeah, I think you have to have something personally. I think it's. I know they're going with stats, aren't they? They're going with what, statistically, cars involved in crashes aren't older cars; they're younger cars, because obviously there are way more younger cars on the road. But I personally think they should have. I think the whole classic car scene needs a shake-up. Really, I think they should have like maybe not MOTs in the way they are now, but some kind of annual check, and like have a tax system on a car where you can tax it based on how many miles you're doing or something like that when a car gets above a certain age, because there are plenty of people out there who've got a car that's 35 years old, doesn't qualify for free tax, and they're doing like 1,000 miles a year in it. I think, well, how is it fair that they're paying full whack and then someone else who's driving a modern SUV is paying less and they're pumping out way more because they're driving it more? So it's kind of like,
do you almost bring in a system where you pay as you drive almost?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and to be honest, the only fair way you do that is taxing the fuel, because you literally pay tax on what you use. But they'd lose so much money doing it, because at the moment they're getting money out of someone like me who's got a BX I'm paying tax every month on it, and I've driven it 3 times this month.
Yeah. See, this is why I hammer the Proton, because I think, Christ, if they're going to hammer me for tax, I'm going to be driving that damn thing. Okay, so
is that 1,500?
yeah, not that you'd know it, not the speeds I do. I'm never stationary. Somebody messaged me a while ago on Twitter and went, "That thing's fast, lol." And I thought, yes, it is, lol. Let's hope that nobody saw me driving like that. So we talk about 35-year-old cars. Here's my next question for you, Kitch, and everybody who is typing along with us. So, by the way, I think it's really important to say, for anybody who's joined the chat later on, it's really hard for us to talk and type. So we are reading comments, and I noticed that somebody, I think it was Charlie Manson, was it Charlie Manson? Charlie, it's definitely somebody Manson, I'm sure it was, who said about specialist MOTs. Totally agree with that. I think that producing some sort of, like you've got a boiler scheme for checking a boiler, and some Corgi gas safe registered or whatever it is, maybe it'd be good to have a system like that for classic garages, and giving people some sort of badging to say you can do this. But yeah, we talk about 35-year-old cars. So my question for you is you, Les, what are your thoughts? And you can be as controversial as possible, or as you would like.
It doesn't affect me because I don't live in London, and I can't think of anything worse than living in London. But
you never.
It will affect me, obviously, because it's gonna spread, isn't it?
It's expanding. Clean air zones are expanding. So, unfortunately, it's not something that we can just ignore like it's not happening. We have to talk about the clean air zone and how we feel about it, and how it impacts our classic community. And especially people like Weird Car Twitter, because a lot of people aren't driving cars that fall into that 40+ market yet. They're in that weird no man. So tell us your thoughts.
I think I don't know enough about it to give a I know there's a lot of hatred towards what's his mayor, Sadiq Khan or something. He's like the Antichrist, isn't he, to a lot of people? But
he didn't bring it in. A lot of people put.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Boris Johnson's initiative that he's rolled with.
Yeah.
So just want to be a bit of balance of fairness there.
Yes, that's what I mean. A lot of people are sort of they're hating on him big time. They're piling on. If you think about it, the ULEZ makes sense. I think if you think about it from a point of view that you've got a lot of cars that are stationary, or even if they're just moving slowly and they're pumping out a lot of fumes in a confined area, then the air quality in that area is going to be bad. And if you try and dissuade cars that pump out stuff from going in that area, it's going to impact. I mean, you can't do anything without negatively impacting someone, you know, a minority of some sort. And if that's weird car Twitter, or you know, people into young timers, if you like, or modern classics, that kind of thing, you know, they're not the majority, unfortunately. They're, you know, they are the minority. People driving around in Mark III Fiestas are not normal. Like they're abnormal compared to the stats, because the stats, most people are driving something that's 5, 6, 7 years old. So it can't. Yeah, it makes sense to me a little bit. I think, I'm hoping the technology will be there one day, that cars could be fitted with kind of inline electric motors on axles and things like that, so you could switch to, you know, I mean, we haven't got the technology for it at the moment, but you know, so you almost have like a driven hub. So the car has the original engine, and the original, it looks the same. At the bonnet, it looks the same. But underneath, there's like a little motor that can just directly power one of the drive shafts or something like that, just for manoeuvring max speed of 20 mile an hour through towns. Because who needs to have the engine on it? I mean, well, it's a chore to drive through a city in an old car. It's a pain because the clutch is heavier and the engine doesn't like getting hot. I mean, BX, if I take that through a city centre, it's idling at 1100 after a while because it's getting hot. And I can't think of anything worse than driving through cities anyway. I don't know why people would want to do it. Some people have to, I suppose. So, yeah, it's a difficult one. They're going to be introducing it in Portsmouth. You've got a clean air zone going in there, and not all the cars I've got will qualify for it. I think the C6 doesn't. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But I think the fairest way they could go about it is do what they do in France. Unsurprisingly, coming from me, but with the Crit-Air system, you went to France recently, so that you, I mean,
I wouldn't 40. What I did, because I don't think I followed the rules as you're supposed to.
Well, you can't. That's the thing. I'm on about taking Clement over to France next year, and I can't buy a Crit-Air. Basically, in France, you buy a sticker for your car, and the colour of that sticker coordinates to how dirty that car is. And so, like, if you go to Paris one day, and they've got you know, the air quality is bad, then they'll basically be saying, like, right, only cars in the first category are allowed in. Whereas if it's a day where the traffic's a bit lighter and it's not quite as bad, they'll be like, right, you're allowed the top 3 categories in. I think there's 5 categories in total. In France, cars that are of a significant historical interest, i.e. classic cars, I think they have to be 30. I don't think they have to be 40. I think it's 30 years old, are allowed in, because they're exempt, because they're kind of like, they look at it from the point of view that A, there aren't many of them, and B, they might be culturally significant, because like 2CVs, DSs, Renault 4, whatever, 205s, you know. So they have that system where only on certain days you can look on your phone and see, am I allowed into the city or not, or am I going to have to park outside and get a train? And to me, that seems a better way to do it, because they're actually monitoring the air quality that day,
Do you know,
rather than making people pay £12 a day or whatever to, you know, just drive to the end of their street. Yeah, it's a tricky one. We have got to do more, haven't we? We can't ignore it.
The thing is, right, this is what doesn't sit right with me, is that a lot of people, so I think it was going to be over 10,000 cars, it was either 10,000 or 20,000 cars in London were going to be impacted by the expanding ULEZ zone. But when we look at the kind of people that drive an older vehicle that isn't compliant, it's the most vulnerable members of society, which is why none of this sits well with me. Like, it's people that we rely on in society a lot more than we perhaps realise. Sometimes we take them for granted. People like our cleaners, people like our serving staff, our nursing staff, people that maybe don't earn megabucks, but still need a car because the hours that they're working are unsociable, and the infrastructure, it might be there in London in parts of central, but if you're way out on the absolute fringes of ULEZ zone, you don't have that transportation infrastructure to get you
Yeah.
to work. And so I just think it's like you can't punish people like this. It's not, for me, it's not fair. And also you've got things like pensioners that maybe only use the cars a couple of times a week or a few times a week. And so that's why it doesn't sit right with me. I mean, my best friend's grandparents, they live in Harlesden, I hope you won't mind me saying, and they had a BMW. And it had gone through the family, so everybody had kind of had it. And then they were only pootling about a couple of times a week, hospital appointments, going to Tesco's, um, and they needed to just have a car for those moments in time. They didn't quite, they don't quite qualify for Motability, and so then these people end up getting taxed, and they're the most vulnerable in society. And I feel like there's not a supporting infrastructure to support these people. And also,
Mm.
once something is made, the I mean, I wish I had the stats to hand. I really should have printed them before we came into this conversation. But there's some really great stats around how long an electric vehicle has to be on the road to negate, almost offset that period of time.
Yeah, it's about 4 years now.
Is it 4? I don't know why I thought it was 7.
It
But
used to be about 8,
it's
but it's because obviously as technology moves on, they find more efficient ways of doing things. Apparently now it's about 4. But to be honest with you, I agree with that, because if you're really bothered about the environment, if you're really dead set on the environment, stop making cars.
if you're really dead set on the environment, I don't want to preach, but you need to live a lot more considerately in different ways. So
Yeah,
like, if you are that concerned, don't buy new clothing, because fast fashion is one of the biggest detriments on our society. Oh, David Sharp says general consensus is 70,000 miles. That's a lot, when I think the average mileage that someone does is about 7,000 miles a year, so it's about 10 years. But anyway, coming back to the point, the biggest drain on our planet's resources, and the biggest thing that impacts us environmentally, is fast fashion. So actually, one of the biggest things that people could do to offset some of the strain on the planet is to just stop buying new clothes all the time, and to buy considerately.
I thought you were going to say stop wearing clothes.
I'm looking at myself and Carly here, because but Carly and I live in charity shops, so we're all right.
Yeah.
We're all right. We're not the demons. But
You ask my missus. I mean, she bought me some clothes today. She bought me a pair of trousers. That's probably the first pair of clothes I bought in ages. I wear stuff. I've had these trainers 6 years,
yeah,
something like that. I wear stuff until it falls apart.
yeah, but you're all right. See, that's okay. That's like wearing clothes as you should do. A lot of people that don't do that, and there's a lot of people that waste stuff and buy stuff and don't really use it, and people that buy endless taps for their homes, and then they go, "Oh yeah, the fashion's changed now, chuck it out." And it's like, actually, like, you know what? When you buy stuff, buy it, and buy it with a considerate head. And it's like, we're focusing so much on these cars and what cars are going to do, but actually, big corporations need to do more. One of the biggest on the planet is, I mean, God, I love the stuff, but Coca-Cola, one of the biggest polluters on the planet. And it's like, what are we doing about them? Just because the lids are joined onto the bits now. But anyway, we're going way off the topic of cars here. And I actually wanted to ask you a question, because you've done so well on this massive fundraiser that you're doing. I mean, look, we're barely into it at the moment. I'm sure you're tired, so that's probably not what you want to hear. But you are doing amazingly. Okay. So what is your goal for next year? Because we're only a few months off 2024.
What, my goal in general?
Yeah, in terms of like your fundraising, your cars, what are you going to do? What do you want to get done?
I don't know. In terms of the fundraising, I might, if I've got to decide whether I've got it in me. It's going to sound really like melodramatic and things to say that, but this year's been like rougher than last year in terms of like mainly business related.
Yeah.
And doing this kind of thing really hammers it. Like, it properly neglects it for a good week.
Yeah.
And you feel that. But then the other part of me wants to keep doing things because of the stories that I hear from Charlotte and whatnot. And I think more people should do more. And yeah, I'd like to do something, but I don't know what. I don't know if I do another one of these, because it's going to sound really, really like silly saying this, but the mental anxiety leading up to this time has been crazy, like really, really strong. And you just worry because you just like you're panicking about what if this doesn't work, what if that doesn't work, what am I going to do? Even things like, do I need to lock the gate outside? You know, just like all little tiny details, and it exhausts you. So I don't know. I think if I may well do this again. If it keeps bringing in the money, then yeah, I probably will. But I'd like to do other things, and I so badly want to get some of the other cars on the road, because I had the imp. The imp was the killer this year, because I finally got it on the road. I didn't get it MOT'd either. I had to click the box to say no, I'm not MOTing it, because
Yeah.
I got it ready the day before Goodwood.
Yeah.
So there's an imp track day booked at Goodwood, and it was the day before. I got it ready like the night before, and so I thought, well, it better be in good nick because I'm driving around Goodwood in it. So if it's not, I'm going to crash. And it died after 5 laps. It ate the gearbox, and that was a real kicker. So because I was so looking forward to getting that back on the road. It's such good fun.
But you still did it though. You still got to go.
Yeah.
You know what? Even if you don't make it to the finish line, you've still got there. You've still had part of the experience, and you haven't just sat at home on your bottom doing nothing and just fuming, which is what a lot of people do in life. A lot of people don't go and take the risk. So well done to you for. I know that sounds really kind of condescending, but like, well done to doing it.
Oh, well done.
No, like, you know, there's a lot of people out there that don't have the guts to do that, and they'll be like, oh no, I'm not taking it on a track day. Or the people that, oh god, I couldn't drive anything that old. So you know, already you've got, you know, massive respect to you for even getting that far. So
yeah, no, it's
brilliant.
It's I love circuits and tracks. You know, I've not done enough of that. I reached 40 now, and I've not done anything like enough of that sort of thing. And the imp wasn't the ideal car to take round, if I'm honest. You know, it was an imp day, and so I had to take an imp. It wouldn't let anything else go on. But I'm glad I did it. You know, yeah, I joke about it and say I did 4. It was the beginning of the 5th lap. It locked up going into turn 1. Back end just rock solid, gearbox just from the heat. And because to be fair, it's used to dealing with what are they imps normally 35 horsepower, 40 horsepower.
Is that it?
And it's dealing with 100 and just under 120. So going through the standard gearbox.
That, like I personally drive a supercar. I'm like, oh, is that it? Like, how am I?
Well, no, that isn't a lot. To be fair, like 30 odd isn't a lot. But of course, all the people who were running a standard imp, they drove past me, broken down, went, yeah, sort of thing. Like you zipped past me just now. You thought you had a big dick, didn't you? Now look. So yeah, I think I'm really happy I did it. But that was the kicker. That was the kicker this year. Was this year? When did it happen? No, it was last. Jesus, it was last year.
Was it?
Yeah, it was in July. That's been bloody hell. Well, yeah, so it was last July. And yeah, it's been sat broken ever since. And that was a real kicker. And so what I'd like to do more next year is just have more of the cars on the road again, because they're no fun when they're just parked up being a project, occupying a space in your mind. Like it's something on your to-do list. It can be like people who've got project. There'll be people in the chat with project cars, and it's just when you've got more than one thing to deal with, and it overwhelms your head. And so I think I'm going to sell the BXs.
Okay.
All but sold anyway. There's people who want that.
Yeah.
And that you could pretty that up, but you could just use that. It's fine. It doesn't need anything doing. Seems silly selling a car that works and focus on ones that don't. But
no, focus on the car that you have the passion for. Very easy to focus on the car that is easy, but you don't have the passion for.
Yeah, well, I've got passion for all of them. To be fair, I mean, I've got how many have I got? 9, but I really want to get the imp on the road next year. again. So I'm gonna have
That's
to
your passion.
take it apart again.
Investing.
Yeah, but the other thing was to get the main one next year is Clement. Where is a
Pulling out the picture.
yeah. So that's if you look at it now, you're gonna think, oh, because that's the back of it. It's got no roof because the roof's been cut off because it's rusty.
Blimey.
But I really want that on the road, and that's the sort of thing I take that to, like meets, Ian's meets and things like that. So that's probably my goal, and that's the car I did the live stream in last year. So I did it from the back of that car, and so part of me thinks, like, if I do something next year fundraising wise,
yeah,
I'd quite like to do it in that, like maybe drive around. Well, Charlotte had an idea. I spoke to her a while back, and she said, "Why don't you drive around different hospitals in that car, and stream from outside each hospital for 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever, and then go to the next town and kind of do a road show or whatever you call it." So yeah, that would be good. But we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, if this, I mean, we're up for over £4,500 now.
what are you up to?
Oh God, it's nearly 5.
We're trying to push for 5 by 10 o'clock, aren't we? That's what we're trying to push for.
Wow, we're at 4,931.
Let's get it done.
Think of all the SM bits I could buy for that.
Yeah.
I'd love to have that. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to have that on the road, but I'm going to be realistic. I can't afford the parts.
You'll get that.
I mean, a set of the head gasket set's £1,000.
What?
For the gaskets.
Oh, maybe you are. Why is this?
But look at it. Look at it.
Why is
no, hang on.
I feel like I've just been buying Morris Minor parts for too long. I'm used to.
Look at that. But look at it.
It's a proper millionaire's car, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It was designed to do Paris to Saint-Tropez on 1 tank of fuel.
Who was I talking to about the SM? Do you know Andrew Roberts, the writer? He writes for The Telegraph. Him and I were talking about the Citroen SM because when I was planning cars for the Lancaster stand, that was one of them that got brought up, and we spent ages trying to find one. Yeah,
I've got one. I've got one.
Orwell 1 and Hooked on Classics have both said basically, what on earth are the head gaskets made from to be so expensive?
And they've got a Maserati logo on them.
Right. Is there an Audi version that we can just slap on? Like, there must be something.
I think generally that's considered a bad idea because they break. So, but the valve, I mean, like the valves in the engine are sodium filled with salt, basically. They're hollow. Yeah, that's quite common in performance engines because it basically when the valves get past a certain temperature, the sodium turns to liquid, so it kind of cools the valves. But the problem with that is that they're hollow basically, and if you get a bit of corrosion on the valves on those engines, they can just snap, they can just break and fall into the piston. So I can't even try and start it. And the trick that people do is to buy stainless valves, solid stainless valves. You take sodium valves out, in them, stick the stainless ones in, and the stainless valves are, I'm trying to remember now, I think they're £80 each, and there are 12 of them.
Oh my God, I'm just looking.
Wow.
Can I just ask everybody, if you haven't already, can you just hit the like button, please, so we can get ourselves over 100 by 10 o'clock, please?
What likes?
Hey!
Oh yeah, that was. I've not even seen that. What's that, likes?
Yeah, it's like I'm like a little pensioner. It's like a little like button up here. I didn't know.
Oh yeah, I can see it now. 109.
Hey, there we go.
You just want your stint to be the most liked out of all of them.
No, I don't. I want everybody to be liking yours because a boost of energy. Because you know what, you are absolutely incredible for doing this. I don't think I could do it, and I don't think many of us that are tuning in could do it either.
I don't know. Some of them do. Some of them stay up.
Yeah, they're staying up, but they're not presenting. There's a big difference
Wow.
between enjoying and presenting. As Brittany said, there's only two types of people in this world: the ones that entertain and the ones that observe. And so all of us are in here observing you, but you're the one who's entertaining all of us.
Is that Britney Spears?
Yes, it is Britney Spears. I did quote Britney Spears.
I did not think that would happen tonight.
Well, there you go. I love that song. I think it's absolutely spot on. I love a bit of Britney. It's like a bit of a guilty pleasure. Along with, if anybody hasn't watched it yet, a lot of people's opinion of me is about to skyrocket down the hill. But Carly and I are both very into this series of Married at First Sight.
Oh wow,
Yeah, yeah.
that's trashy.
Hey, look, £5,000 has been hit. You've done it.
Oh, that's my wife who said that. Have you put £5,000 into? Oh no, it's not.
No, not me. Not me.
No, it went her. I went her. Like, where'd you get £5,000 from? 5,000. We're over 5,000.
Hey, well done. You are incredible. And so, do you want
Oh, that's amazing.
to tell us before I go? For anybody who hasn't donated yet, do you want to just explain about the £1,500? Because that number's stuck in my head. So, go on, go for it.
What's that? What? Oh, what Charlotte said earlier on.
So, what time is Seaside Garage on? I've just seen that pop up. Oh, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Sorry, carry on.
Ian's my receptionist. So yeah. No disrespect to Steph, but when is Seaside Garage? Who's written that one? Seaside Garage.
Seaside Garage
no.
tomorrow, I hope.
He's on tomorrow at
9 o'clock.
well, 9 o'clock here. For him, it's 10 o'clock because he lives in Paradise and he's an hour ahead of us.
Lucky.
Yeah. No, the 1,500. So they have one of the things they do in the hospitals is there's a parent. If you have a kid in the hospital, there's a parents' room. So there's like chairs in it. It's where family members go if like not everyone's allowed in next to bed, that kind of thing. And they put Sophies Legacy put food boxes in there. They put supplies. They put things that because if your kid gets rushed into hospital, you might not have a chance to pack anything, but you won't. It's like it's the last thing that goes to the back of your mind. You're too focused on your kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, to fill those every week costs £1,500 on 2 hospitals. So they're dealing with a lot. They're doing Guildford. They're doing. They're just about to start doing Poole, Winchester, which is where I was born. They do loads of them, and but just Portsmouth and Southampton, which are the 2 main ones here, because we're kind of halfway between them. £1,500 a week, and it's all completely off donations. There's no income, there's no grants, nothing. It's just off people supporting them. So this will go. I mean, it doesn't sound like it'll go a long way because you think, well, three and a bit weeks and that's all gone. But she said, no, that's a lot. A week's worth is a lot. It really makes a difference. So, and last year, I discovered this earlier on. Actually, last year, I felt really proud of everyone who like donated last year because if you go on Just Giving, where I've set up the page, it's got the page from last year on it. And I went back through Sophies Legacy on Just Giving, and we were the highest donators.
Oh, really?
And I was like, yeah, I know we're not the highest everywhere because some company did more than that, like a couple £100 more, like 2 weeks later. I mean,
well then,
why would they do that? But yeah, on Just Giving, it was it's the highest one still to this day. So, which I felt really good when I saw that.
That's a big thing, that's such a big thing for you. Now it's 10 o'clock. Who's coming on now? Because I'm about to say good night to you because I'm going to bed.
Oh god, yeah, it's 10 o'clock, right. It is JM on Cars next.
Oh, I'm going to tune in. I'm going to put you on the big telly now, not on the little phone.
On big telly.
On big love. I'm going to put you on big telly and watch your telly with a cup of coca.
Yeah, so JM, and then Passenger Seat Podcast.
Oh, brilliant.
On at 11 doing a TV car quiz.
Brilliant. Lovely to see you all, by the way. Yeah, getting you on the big telly, James. Right. Later. Have a really, really great night.
Yeah, cheers.
Far, apart from that bit with James Walsh on at midnight, won't watch him that. No, I'm joking. Right.
Oh, I forgot about him. Yeah.
So much for inviting me on, and thanks everybody for chatting away with us. Sorry I couldn't be more chatty. See you
Yeah,
later.
no, thanks for coming on.
Bye, love. Bye.
Cheers, bye.